really extended recharge zone, effectively, those high-speed corners.
So deliberately decrease your speed so you still have battery by the end of the lap is the aim of the game, and how you perfect that, the teams will all converge on this eventually, but there's going to be real differences at the start of this campaign. Antonelli is 0.4 of a second quicker than Charles Leclerc's first effort. George Russell, fastest of anyone so far in the middle part of the lap. He completes it now out of the 14th and final corner. The favourite for the World Championship in 2026 is 0.6 of a second ahead of his teammate. His teammate's car, by the way, is out on the track, might not be perfected though because of the rush that they had to just get it out and get it competing. Lando Norris, the world champion, 0.9 of a second off. And let's see where Lindblad can go. The British driver is just shy of the world champion's time. He's having a riot out there, isn't he? On debut, 18 years of age, and he's ahead again, not by much, but ahead again of his experienced teammate. Lindblad on debut. Liam Lawson will start his 36th Grand Prix on Sunday.
Yeah, Oz Hadjar, the sole Red Bull, he's a bit down in that middle sector, so this is going to be, well, it was half a second down in the middle sector. He was quickest of all in the first until this man, Hamilton, has brought that first sector time down. So it seems to be middle sector particularly that Russell and that final sector is able to keep everything together. So this should be quite telling if Hamilton gets a clean end to this lap.
He's off it again. He's bailed out of it again. So we'll see. He still needs to get a time on the board.
Antonelli making his way through turn 12 into 13. Sailing by wide through 13 and using way more of the exit curve than he would have intended.
Yeah, pushing over that front axle, that would have cost him a couple of tenths by the time he's made that mistake, and then getting out of position for the final corner as well.
Ferrari ready to receive the car, so Hamilton finds himself down in 16th. He's in the weighbridge there. You can be randomly called into that at any part of the weekend. That is it's a random spot check to make sure that your car is not running underweight.
He's got pace, but he's not got a middle sector on the board yet. So he'll go back into the garage now, having been fired up from the weighbridge, and they've got plenty of time to get that car turned around for another go. But I'm surprised that he's not managed to get a single time on the board, because Ferrari are quick. Leclerc's not done that car justice yet, 1.1 seconds away. You just think some banker might be enough to take him through into Q3. I wonder if there's a bigger issue there for Hamilton.
Yeah, because the clock does tick down, of course, and he's going to go into the pits. That would have been a little bit frustrating to be randomly called to the scales, but it takes a little bit of time. Meanwhile, we have Leclerc out there. He's improved in the middle sector, still 0.4 or so away from what Russell was able to do, but not so good in that first sector. We haven't seen any mistake. We see him make a mistake there again, getting very wide onto that exit curb. So I don't know if this will be an improvement.
And it is not an improvement for the former winner of the Australian Grand Prix. Alex Albon, 0.2 of a second away from the driver he is chasing. And Albon is 15th at the moment, hoping for a time here. It's been a tough time for Williams in Formula One. The car is overweight, to the disappointment of both drivers. Williams, like Aston Martin, like Alpine, really looking forward to the regulation change, and it's not gone their way. Now, Gasly up to 11th. Gasly with a run of Q3 appearances last year in what was the 10th fastest car in Formula One. That's an improvement for Alex Albon. He's up to 13th. The driver who's chasing his first point scoring finish tomorrow since the Italian Grand Prix back in September last year.
Well, we know that car is overweight. The team have made no secret about it, and rumoured to be at least what would be a good second in performance. So in real terms, if they could get on a weight saving, then they could bring themselves into that sort of window where you see Lindblad sitting right now. It's not the work of a moment, though.
Months of development to do that. James Vowles has said that it's in the pipeline. They're trying to add downforce and take away weight. It's a two-pronged attack, but it's going to take a while in towards the race 5, race 6 at the earliest. You'd have thought it's not going to happen immediately for Williams. Hamilton back out, new softs, so no major issue for him. And we'll see if he can just put a time on the board. If he can get through 3 sectors sensibly, he should leap up the order.
5 minutes to go, real pressure now. Out front, George Russell has a buffer of 0.6 of a second. Everyone else scrambling. Everyone else looking for improvements. Still a top 10 shootout. We're just going to lose 6 cars in the middle section of qualifying. 5 minutes to go. You can see the advantage that Ocon has over Hulkenberg as they prepare the cars in exactly the way required. And they'll gun it over the line in a few moments. We go on board with the German driver.
So running at idle pretty much, getting ready for his prep lap. What surprises me is he came out of turn 11. He was pretty much middle of the track. I'd call that dust. I wouldn't want any of that with just a couple of corners to get it clean before launching the lap.
Yeah, just desperate to get out of the way of everyone. You can hear there where it fires up to start the lap as well, and the push comes up on the dash, which is a bit of a giveaway as well.
Yeah, well, they could put anything on that dashboard for the driver, but yeah, there is. It's very Germanic, actually, isn't it? Push.
Direct instruction. Also, the bodywork on the left-hand side looks like it's making a bid for freedom. It's vibrating a lot on the main straight. That could easily be picked up earlier in the session.
Yeah, that looks like that stay, the supporting stay that goes up to the chassis, which has become something that we're seeing in all of the design of these cars might be broken.
It's the Audi particularly that looks like those wing mirrors won't last the Grand Prix distance. Maybe it's a beautifully measured bit of weight saving and they're perfectly there for a bit of flex, but we will find that out tomorrow. Big lap for Hulkenberg this, through 9 and 10, on the edge of a bit of oversteer there. You want to still be on the limit of grip through the high speed, otherwise you're giving away just too much through those corners.
Yeah, only a couple of tenths away of the fastest in the middle sector. I'm going to say that's pretty impressive. There's a few twists and turns there. A bit further away, almost 9 tenths to Russell in the first.
Well, Hulkenberg last year in the Grand Prix format only made Q3 on 1 occasion. The season before that, he was constantly there. It's a lap that gives himself a chance. Driver from Emmerich in Germany is up to P9. Max Verstappen rendered a spectator. Here's the 7-time champion of the world, Lewis Hamilton, now. With the DRS gone, it's active aero that takes you across the line, available at 5 zones around the racetrack. It's the front wing, it's the rear wing at the same time. And here's Antonelli to move up to 2nd place. The Mercedes 1-2 has been delivered in Q2. We'll reset the times. You've got to deliver again. Russell leaning on the curb with all that power that they have underneath them when they can get it straightened up. And that was not an improvement for George Russell as he went across the line. But it was very close to the time that he'd set before, only a few hundredths back. So Mercedes, and then it is Oscar Piastri who finds himself in 3rd. What about Lando Norris? Can he join his teammate? No, not at this stage. Bortoleto, Ocon, Gasly, Behrman, Alex Albon, Franco Colapinto, right now staring at the exit.
Yeah, what is impressive about Russell, those 2 times at this point, still significantly quicker than Antonelli, his teammate. He's in a zone, isn't he? He may not have improved there, but it just feels that he is the pace setter. Everything that we thought from pre-season is now playing out in front of us.
Yeah, we don't know what more Antonelli has or can do with the car maybe perfectly squared and a bit more prep time, but nonetheless, he's consistently safe and up on the top 3, but with that gap to Russell still to close down. Ferrari don't look great so far. Hamilton's got a time on the board. He was nowhere near his best sectors, but at least he pieced the lap together, so possibly there's a bit more in there for Lewis. Let's have a look at Charles Leclerc, down in 8th. Not safe with 1 minute 20 to go, but this is a much better lap, actually.
Yeah, he's only about 3 and a bit tenths away from Russell's time, so if he's able to complete the lap in quick pace, he should be in around that sort of Hadjar Piastri mark.
That has been the issue for Ferrari. They've had pace in different sectors all the way through the weekend so far. It's putting them all together with clean laps that has evaded them. 27 times in Formula 1, Charles Leclerc has been on pole position. He'll be looking to book his place in the top 10 and fight George Russell for it. Now he crosses the line, he moves up to 2nd position. That looked lively for Isaac Hadjar, working the wheel at enormous speed through 9 and 10.
Hanging on to it in the high speed, so still very much on the edge of grip there in those corners. And the only Red Bull left, so has to try and deliver something here for the team. Hadjar still up in 5th place, blending out of it through turn 12. Easy to lock up the left front in this penultimate corner, turn 13. Brings it back to the left-hand side to run as cleanly as possible through that final corner. It's difficult to blend in the throttle. Here we go.
Over the line, and it's P5 for Hadjar. Behrman has missed out on the top 10, and Hulkenberg has been demoted. Gabriel Bortoleto there in P10 at the moment. Franco Colapinto will not join the top 10 shootout. Pierre Gasly will be hoping to provide another brilliant lap when it counts. But it's Hulkenberg, Behrman, Ocon, Gasly, Albon's in the pits, and Colapinto has failed to trouble the fast times at the front.
So it is only Gasly now that can try and improve and knock out Colapinto. A couple of corners to go. He's got to find a few tenths.
Can he do it across the line? That's the question for Gasly. He made Q3 on 10 occasions last year. Doesn't have the car to do so. 14th. And it's Hulkenberg who misses out qualified by his teammate. Oliver Behrman out-qualifies Esteban Ocon, but they're out in Q2, along with Gasly, Albon, and Franco Colapinto. This was why Alex Albon was not fighting at the end, wide into the first turn.
Yeah, well, the complete opposite of what we saw with Verstappen. He just carried too much speed over the front axle, understeered in, through, and out of the corner onto the grass. Hamilton, something, well, not actually similar. He lost the rear a bit at Apex.
So one of the laps that he bailed out of might have been the last lap there that he was trying to find. Inconsistent at the moment. When he pieces it together, there is pace there, but he is struggling to put it all together. Even on his best lap that he did, there was a few tenths in the first sector.
Out in the second part of qualifying, Hulkenberg, Behrman, Ocon, Gasly, Albon and Colapinto. George Russell remains the driver to beat out front. Top 10 next. Really looking forward to our first top 10 shootout of the year. Russell, Leclerc, Antonelli, Piastri, Hadjar, who finds himself out qualifying Max Verstappen in his first race for Red Bull. And Norris, Hamilton, Lindblad ahead of Lawson once again, and Gabriel Bortoleto once more showing great one-lap pace up against the veteran driver Nico Hulkenberg, 38 years young. And we did see a yellow flag out there, could be for Bortoleto. Hopefully no issue for him when there's such a great performance so far today. 1.2 seconds off the pace, outpaced his teammate. But you can see the warning lights flashing on the wing mirrors, and Bortoleto is not back to the pits, so it might only be a top 9 shootout, as he is in second gear, trundling back, and he's not made the control line. What a disappointment that would be for Bortoleto, who would want to be fighting both of the Racing Bull drivers.
Yeah, he's... yeah, of course it'll be a disappointment, but I think the Audi overall have got to be happy with the fact that they're in there, just outside the area of the really competitive guys. Will be able to restart it.
Well, they'll be talking. Do they have a Control-Alt-Delete for Gabriel Bortoleto? There will be a conversation going on right now between the Brazilian driver Gabriel Bortoleto and his race engineer at Audi, trying to find a way to just move a few hundred meters further down the line, because your mechanics cannot recover the car until you get to the white line there. You're not allowed to wander onto the circuit. And what frustration, having made the first Q3 of the session. Arvid Lindblad, P8, and that was way too close for comfort. Nearly into the back of his teammate.
Yeah, well, let's just see, was there any waved flags? It's not normal, really, I guess, in that corner, but look at this. They just disappeared around the concrete barrier.
Lawson will have no idea how close he was to being nerfed out of qualifying. All three of these guys have done a great job to be in there.
Mate, oh my God, I've almost... the car is fine, but I almost had a massive crash. I don't know what is going on in the pit entry. Check the car. I think it's fine, but check potential front wing.
Yeah, well, that got his attention.
It really did. This is so disappointing for Gabriel Bortoleto. It means the start of Q3 will be delayed, and the marshals will be pushing Bortoleto.
Well, they're not going to get it through that gap easily, I don't think. They might need to do a bit of back and forward. Grand Prix cars aren't really set up for three-point turns easily.
No, they are not. Here's Pierre Gasly. Let's have a look at the one-time Grand Prix winner. And what's falling off the car?
Wheel cover. They've got these sort of inserts, haven't they, on the front wheels, and there you go. It's decided to make a break for freedom. Yes, just the insert has become detached. Some of them have them actually screwed into place.
Well, George Russell dreaming of pole position. So much talk about how Mercedes would do, but he has shown today, when we've got into the real meaty laps that matter, that he has. Track dominance, I think, is a fair phrase when the margin is 0.4 of a second.
You know the interesting thing there? Leclerc seems to be quicker in every single corner, apart from 9 and 10. Yet Russell is way up the road in terms of pace.
Let's get some more analysis now with Juan Pablo Montoya and Ruth Buscombe.
Well, Juan. Is it 2014? Are we seeing...
It looks that way, doesn't it? It's amazing. It's amazing. The power difference, the efficiency of the Mercedes right now, it's insane.
It is. Well, in Bahrain, there was smiles. We had a swagger and a smoothie from George Russell, and now we've got a smirk from Toto Wolff. But looking at the data, it is, well, first off, well done. We have to say well done. And I can say that now without crying, because in 2014, when this dominance happened last time, I was at Ferrari and I was crying. But it's about 20 kph on the straights advantage. I mean, we haven't done all the maths yet, but it looks like that Mercedes power unit is what we saw shades of in FP3. It is not able, it's able to regenerate the energy more efficiently than any other power unit at the moment.
Yeah, and they can use just more power, more energy, and that's all there is. You know what I mean? You don't know if even if the peak power is different, it's just the amount of deployment they can do
It
makes
looks
a difference.
like they've got more peak power too.
I know.
It looks like
It's gonna be nice.
Yeah, I mean, well done. It's brilliant, isn't it? What a session though. So many different ups and downs for the other, other
and
than
surprises.
other drivers.
You know, look at the racing bulls. They look really competitive. Ferrari looks good. Lewis looks good. I mean, I would expect a little more out of McLaren, to be honest, with the same power unit as Mercedes. So,
and I think that comes down to the execution here. And as the wind has just picked up, with my hair demoing it rather nicely, the lap is changing every second. And having to do the optimization on that is making such a big difference for the teams out there. Going into Q3, nothing is guaranteed. We can see how quickly things can change.
Yeah, I think one of the difference is how hot it started when we started in qualifying, and with the wind right now, is getting colder, it's getting windier and more unpredictable, so we'll see what happens.
Thank you to Juan, thank you to Ruth. Here we go then, the first top 10 shootout of the year, and because it is that type of season opener with a massive rule change, it's going to be a top 9 shootout. Poor old Gabriel Bortoleto, brilliant job to out-qualify his teammate, and that midfield battle, nice and tight. He does the job, but the car doesn't make it back to the pits. If you're wondering why they didn't just push him back to the garage, car's got to make its way back to the control line, the white line painted across the track, unaided. If he'd made it even just 100 meters further down, the team would have been permitted in the rules to wander down the pit lane, collect the car, and he would have been given what we've seen quite a lot of this weekend, and would have had a chance to just reset things and go again. So there's 9 in the field. The Racing Bull's doing the job. You've got the rookie Arvid Lindblad, who is a second off the ultimate pace on Formula 1 debut. When the field spread, you used to have the whole field in a second, didn't we? Now we've elongated the gaps in Formula 1. Lawson there as well. DC, we're back in the battle for pole position in Formula 1.
Yeah, and, well, we've been saying it on the build-up. It feels like this is Mercedes Grand Prix's pole to lose. George Russell has been flawless so far. So that would be the safe money to suggest that clean lap should see him go there. Antonelli, understandably, a bit on the back foot. We don't know exactly how much setup they were able to put into that car with the mega effort from the mechanics to rebuild it from the crash. So does that give the Ferrari fans a little bit of hope? It just feels like maybe a step too far, certainly for the Red Bull. We haven't really... I expected more from McLaren, to be honest. I thought that both Norris and Piastri were just nibbling away through free practice, but it feels like a bridge too far at the moment.
Didn't have the same specification of, if you're a customer, you don't get the same specification of power unit until the first round of the World Championships. They've not had that throughout testing. They'll still be figuring out how best to get the performance from recharging, from deploying at the right moment. We saw a very different approach yesterday between the McLaren drivers and the Mercedes drivers, so learning all the time. But that's the difference between being a full works team, like Mercedes, and being a customer like the world champions, McLaren.
Yeah, and that's exactly why Aston Martin chose to give up on that Mercedes power unit and go with Honda, taking a longer-term view to be a works team. Short-term, they're taking some pain. We're going to see Kimi Antonelli. This will be on the exit curb. Well, the power slide started before he got out onto the curb, and well, given the incident he had at turn 2 in free practice, that could well have got away from him, but well caught.
He doesn't know any other way. He is as wide as he possibly can. It's been a real trait of his driving since he joined the Formula 1 field at the start of last season, and that rookie crop all had wonderful moments, but then expectation builds in your second year. Italy haven't had a driver on the top step of the podium since 2006 with Giancarlo Fisichella. If Antonelli's able to find his best lap and beat George Russell, he would be the youngest driver in the entire history of the championship to take the Formula 1 Grand Prix pole at just 19 years of age. But I think if he was to score a front row here, he'd be delighted. Can Ferrari dial it up? That's a big question for Charles Leclerc. So good in Q3 time and time again. To illustrate that, Charles Leclerc has 8 Grand Prix wins. He has 27 pole positions.
Yeah, no doubting his single lap speed, which is why it's been, I think, such a challenge for Lewis, who has always had that speed. The difficulty of last year, of course, he seems to have bounced back into a happier place. But as Julian was saying, the Ferrari may be a little bit less consistent, whether that's because of the way they're having to harvest on the lap or it's just intrinsic to that particular car. We will find out. But let's see, Piastri, home hero, of course, in his build phase.
Very much in his build phase. You'd expect the leading contenders to go through the first sector in 27 seconds. He's just gone through in 31, so he's still taking his time. This lap will be around 10 seconds off the pace. Then it will be maximum attack. Everyone getting their charge in the right state. Everyone getting the car in the temperature windows as well. Lewis Hamilton 8 times on pole position around this circuit in a similar phase. The stewards have said incident involving Pierre Gasly is going to be investigated for being released in an unsafe condition. That's because the wheel cover fell off, so that's a pretty short investigation, isn't it?
Yeah, there'll be, I guess, a presentation from the team as to whether something failed, and if FIA feel that is a risk. As we see another car part, well, that looks like it could actually be a scoop into the airbox that has been left in when the car's gone out on track. It absolutely is. You can see the green illumination colour there that's going to come off the Mercedes car.
Left-hand side of your picture,